Retro Gaming Spotlight.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but at what point does it stop being imitation and just become outright thievery? Well, one thing is for certain. If you do something and it's successful, you're pretty much guaranteed that someone's going to come along and completely rip it off. And that's what led to some rather famous, or perhaps infamous, bootlegs back in the heydays of arcades. Here's a look at just a few of them. Let us know if you've ran across any of these in the arcades. Well, let's start off by jumping right in with this one. This is Crazy Kong, a Donkey Kong clone that was created by Falcon in 1981. And while overall it plays very similar to the original Donkey Kong game, there are some subtle differences, such as you can see here in the color palette. Now, interestingly enough, this game was actually created using a modified version of the Crazy Climber hardware. And this is the Pac-Man hack known as Hangly Man. This was developed by Nito and released in the arcades in 1981. Now, there's a lot of speculation that the reason it's called Hangly Man is because it is a mistranslation of the Japanese for Hungry Man. Now, just like with Crazy Kong, this plays very similar to the original Pac-Man game, the major difference being the change in the maze. Alright, what we're looking at here is Street Fighter II Rainbow Edition, a hack of Street Fighter II Champion Edition that came out in 1993. Now, the game plays very similar to Champion Edition with some obvious changes here, such as you can see how the Hadokens were floating in air and the ability to change characters as you're playing. Now, it's not really known who actually created this hack, but there were several versions of it, and it was so prolific when it came out that it actually prompted Capcom to make a new version of Street Fighter, and that became Street Fighter II Turbo Hyper Fighting Edition. And the reason they made that was to try to combat the use of this hack. Okay, and the last one we're actually going to look at right now is Zigzag, a hack of Dig Dug, created in 1982. Now, interestingly enough, this was apparently created by Taito of Brazil under a dummy name called Lax. This ran on a modified version of Mooncrester hardware, which in itself was also a modified version of the Galaxian hardware. Apparently, the Galaxian hardware was very easy to hack and used quite a bit for many of these bootlegs. Now, the game, again, plays very similar to Dig Dug, with some minor changes, such as a different look to the color palette. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at some of the bootleg games that came out in the arcades back in the day. If you want to get more information on this and other bootleg games, be sure to check out fandom.com. This is the bootleg games wiki on fandom.com, and quite honestly, this is where I got a lot of the information related to the games that we talked about today. You can see more about them and other bootlegs and hacks that came out, like I said, back in the day. Be sure to check it out.